Good afternoon, Neil Springle.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for talking to Bayloric TV.
Thank you for having me, definitely.
So, let's find a little bit more about Neil Springle.
What would you like to know, sir?
Well, first and foremost, for those who don't know, you're a Grenadian.
Yes, I am. I am originally from Satez, as they say. I'm from Backstreet in Satez, St. Patrick's. Country bookie all the way. I have no issue saying that.
But you have a very strong American accent.
Because I've spent 2/3 of my life here. And also, being an actor, you don't want to have an accent, unless you're like European. They think it's sexy, but whatever.
Well, so tell us a bit more about you. What do you do?
I'm an actor and sometime commercial model. I actually started off in modeling and I've sort of segued into acting right now. But and in between the acting, I actually work in marketing and promotion. So it's very similar, actually, the process in terms of booking work and selling a brand. It's very similar to the acting.
Okay, so tell us, in terms of acting, people can ask, well, he's an actor, so where you act?
I'm a TV. I'm a TV and film actor. I'm not stage, which is actually the best place to start because if you could nail stage, you can nail TV. But I've done roughly, I think it's between 23 to 29 commercials. I can't remember the full count, but I've done national commercials seen around the country. I've done regional, meaning sort of like Northeast. I've done local commercials as well, seen only in New York. I've done quite a bit of print. I've done ad campaigns for Verizon Wireless, Lactaid, Chase Bank, Brooklyn Public Library, to name a few. Been in a few magazines: Essence, Ebony, Spin, Own, Black Women's Daily. I can't remember, man. It's just the point is a few, a few. There's a couple. You do work and you kind of forget it, but I've done quite a bit, thankfully.
I mean, you mentioned two there, Ebony and Essence. What does it feel like to be a part of that, to do an advertisement for them?
Actually, it's considered an editorial, but to be in an editorial for Essence, for me, resonates more so than Ebony. Ebony is a slightly older demographic, like you think of Ebony as your grandparents' sort of magazine, your grandparents' version of Essence. But to be in Essence in itself, for me, is a huge accomplishment because it's one of the only, if not the only, really high gloss magazine catering towards Black people. So I'm very, very happy to be part of that.
So you're gonna give you a round of applause for that one for sure.
Oh no, that's applause. I'm sorry. Forget it. But yeah.
Wow. So for you, what's a high point for you? I mean, doing all the stuff that you're doing, what do you get? What is it that really keeps you in the entertainment industry?
Being able to do things that a lot of people would like to do. Like, it never occurred to me early on until sort of people bring it towards you. I mean, bring it to you. Like sort of being in the same room, for example, with Donald Trump or Martha Stewart, Warren Sapp, who's a football player here, former football player. Different people, different levels of celebrity, and just being able to be in the same space, being able to work with them. Derek Jeter, a couple other people. Just being able to say, I've done that, that in itself is a huge accomplishment because not too many people get a chance to do that.
I was doing some research on you, as you do, and I discovered that you were in a sort of sitcom with Bobby Brown.
Oh, it wasn't a sitcom. That's what they call a reenactment. That was Celebrity. Yeah, Celebrity. I'm sorry, what was it called?
Close Call?
Close Calls. Thank you. Like I said, you do it and you just forget it. But basically, yeah, that was it's so funny. Like, you spent so many hours, and I've shot way more than what you saw. It was just a few seconds of me playing a Boston police officer pulling a guy in to the bar, but we shot a whole scene with me interrogating the guy and all that. So it's funny how many hours you end up shooting, and it gets chopped to like 3 seconds. But yeah, I never actually got a chance to meet Bobby, but because it was shot at different times. But yeah, that's in a reenactment. Reenactments, for people who don't know, basically they take true stories and they use actors to reenact
Okay.
those stories. So, and that was him telling his story about his boy getting killed, in his younger days in Boston. So, yeah.
Okay. Wow. So, in terms of being around all these stars or celebrities, what does that feel like for you?
I'll be honest with you, I am the classic New Yorker at this point. I'm very jaded. And I mean that in the sense that I'm not moved by celebrity at all. And I think one of the reasons that comes from being in the industry. I've been in it for 15 years. Obviously I'm not where I'd like to be to the point where I'm a recognizable face. Most people would know me offhand, but I've been in it long enough to know there's so much more to than just what you see within that hour, that half an hour, that 30-minute commercial. So it's just when I see celebrities, I see them just as normal people. I don't feel any strong emotional reaction to them. Very few, except Susan Sarandon. I did run into her at the airport, and I did kind of geek out, as we say, because she's one of my favorite actresses. So yeah.
Wow. Wow. So, how does this young boy from Grenada get to New York and end up doing the stuff that you're doing?
The young boy is no longer a young boy.
Exactly.
I'm teasing. I used to work at La Source, now known as La Source Sandals, if I'm not mistaken. And I came across a lot of celebrities and models and actors and actresses, and some of them were like, "Yo, you should really get into that." Of course, being from Grenada, I'm like, "Nah." And so I moved back to New York, and I kind of started working. I literally was working at a supermarket packing bags, and that's where I was making my money for a year. And I just got really bored with it, obviously. And I decided, you know what, let me try it. And I kind of fell prey to some scams. I spent 1,200 US dollars on a fraudulent agency that kind of squeezed that money out of me. And I realized something wasn't right. So I kind of fell back for a whole year. I grew my hair out like Maxwell, the R&B singer at the time. And I researched. I basically just went into the library and went on the net, just kind of researched what to look for, what not to look for, and then kind of realized that I wasn't supposed to pay anyone to help me find bookings. They get paid when I get paid. So yeah, I made those kind of mistakes and I learned from them. And funny enough, the agent that I have now, 15 years later, she first refused me when I first approached her. He
Wow.
told me I was too editorial. Editorial means that my features were too strong. So editorial is what most people think of when they think of modeling, the high fashion models with the sort of certain types of looks. I am really truly not editorial. I am sometimes at that point, at that age, I'm one of those models that's in between commercial and editorial. Depending on how you dress me and that type of stuff, it can look certain way. But so I'm lucky in that sense. So long story short, she refused me. I grew my hair out, came back a year later, and she took me on. And it's 15 years later. So
So, how do you deal with the whole JCB?
just come back.
That's what it is. How do you deal with it?
I'm not one of those JCBs. I love home, as Americanized as I am. I'm the type, we talked about this before prior to the interview. I will come off the plane and just go on flip-flop shorts and walk straight down the bay in Sates and head straight to the beach like nothing ever changed. I will pick up a cutlass, excuse me, clean the yard if necessary. I will climb the mango tree and I will pick cocoa and orange and whatever is necessary to make me feel like I'm home. I'll do it. Like I don't forget where I'm from. So I'm not one of those JCBs. I have no attitudes. You know, yeah, what you see is what you get. Same old Springle.
Great. On the subject of you coming back home, I believe that you're going to be coming back home this time to be doing a workshop.
Yes, at the Grenada National Museum. And that will be this Saturday, the 14th, 3:30 to 6 p.m.
Okay, and so can you give the viewers some sort of flavour of what you're going to be talking about?
Well, I'm going to be addressed the main point of this seminar, which is something I've always wanted to do. I wanted to do this for a very long time. Thankfully, Missy Chrissy, I have to thank her for putting that all together very quickly for me. I want to sort of give people the insider's view of the industry and how much of a business it is. Because in the Caribbean, we do have a sort of casual attitude towards certain things. And I just kind of want to educate people as to how they can approach this more in a business-like manner, so that if they are given an opportunity to grow and move forth, then they'd be able to do it a lot better than what I've seen so far. So yeah, I'm basically just going to touch on how to get into the industry when you're there, what to do, and how to sort of push forward.
So when you talk about in the industry, you're talking about maybe modeling and acting?
Yes, because they're actually a lot more related than people think. A lot of actors these days, even though they don't want to mix, it's considered taboo to really say it. Like, for example, as funny as this sounds, I'm a model who was sent in for a commercial audition, and they're like, "Don't tell them you're a model," because models are considered just pretty faces who are dumb, who can't act, which is not the case. But that's just one of those little insider things that we don't do. But they are very much related. They're very. It's about image. It's about selling a brand. It's about being able to create a space whereas a model sort of creates a certain moment within a shot. The actor creates that moment within a scene with words. The model does it with their body language, facial expression. So it's very, very much related. So that's why I wanted to meld both together. And like I said, a lot of actors started off as models because as you age, certain windows close to you, so you kind of move on into acting.
The crossover between being in Grenada or from the Caribbean and then going to America and trying to get into industry that you've got into, it's pretty difficult. What do you think has been the key to your success?
One, I'm going to say this clearly. Accent-wise, I'll be really, really honest. The industry is built on types. And if you come in with a Caribbean accent, I'm not knocking anyone. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you want to be sold, because you are a brand, essentially,
Yes.
as an actor or model, and well, specifically for acting here, you want to be able to communicate clearly and have people identify with you. So I think for me, I was able to, like, my accent is not placeable. I can be from any state, because there's a New York accent. I don't really have a New York accent. It comes out here and there, but and that in itself helps me because I can do a national commercial and be from anywhere. So people can sort of identify with me on a certain level. So that helps. So I think that's one of the biggest things. A lot of times when I go to auditions, I am one of 2 or 3 black boys they've requested. Because at my stage, I don't do like big, wide open calls where anybody shows up. They know me, they know my name, they know my image. I have a certain appointment time. I do what they call go-sees. So in a lot of ways, I'm happy to be one of those few black dudes that they will request. And yeah, so in that sense, you have to sort of, I think for me, my biggest benefit is also just a clean-cut, non-threatening, I'm being blunt here, not about racism or whatnot, but there are certain aspects that do exist. But I am very clean-cut, non-threatening, appealing, all-American, as they call it. And I think that's my biggest boon. I'm not urban. I don't have that urban swag. I remember Usher's album was about to be released, and they sent me in for a voiceover. And they told me to read the script. I read the script. They were like, can you do it a little more urban? I did it a little more urban, AKA sound more black. I did it again. They were like, can you do it a little bit more? And then the girl who's a white female behind the booth, she actually switched up and she gave me a more urban accent. She's like, this is what I want you to sound like. I didn't book it because it was just not me and not my natural way of speaking, even though I'm black, So,
Yeah. Just kept it real.
But it helps. It helps to not sort of limit yourself to that.
So what inspired you to want to come back to Grenada and to give? Because a lot of people, when they make their success, or they go and they leave Grenada to achieve a dream, and they may have not been helped on the way there, they can become resentful and not want to come back and help the people out in the community. What makes it different for Neil?
I love my country above all. I think it's a beautiful place on the planet. I've been to multiple countries in my life, and I honestly, Grenada, aside from just being home, it's a beautiful place. I can come home, not feel threatened. I can walk around with a bunch of gold, not everywhere, but in general, it's safe, it's clean, it's welcoming, it's warm, and I love and appreciate that. And I felt like the only way I could give back is if I could establish a certain level of success that can inspire others who like the same things that I like. I am a creative spirit, meaning I love the arts, whether it be performance arts, visual arts, sports, which is form of entertainment, certain types of entertainment. As long as that person desires something that besides the norm, I'm all for that type of person. So I want to come back and help to create some type of inspiration, some type of foundation to help them inspire themselves and inspire others and grow.
That is that is fantastic. The fact that you feel that way, certainly, the Bayloric way is certainly that way as well. To want to be the underdog, the champion for the underdog, to come back and to give. What do you think is going to take for Grenada to really embrace the arts and culture?
I think, like any small society, small community, we might need someone to become an international star to the point where other people recognize that person's talent so much that we can't refuse it. Unfortunately, in Grenada, we look outside for inspiration. We look outside for leadership. We look outside for creative um, build-up. And I think we need to stop that. I think we need to look within. I think Grenada has an enormous amount of extremely talented people. I think we need to be able to embrace those people, support those people, and keep in mind that when you do that, you're actually doing your country such a huge favor.
Absolutely.
Your country and your community such a huge favor because they go out and they represent for you, and shows it definitely opens people's mind. A lot of people think Grenada is a third world country. I'm like, we have more cable channels in Grenada than I get in New York, and I'm dead serious about that. So one of the things I want to do is just get people to understand within Grenada to understand you do not have to constantly look outside for creative input. You do not have to look outside to sort of inspiration can come from any direction, but we have enough people, enough talent in Grenada for us to actually move forward. So I think a shift, it doesn't have to be someone becoming huge. It doesn't have to be, but I think most likely it would probably take someone becoming a huge international star. For example, Karate James, I think he brought to light how much we need to support our sports culture.
Yes.
And so unfortunately it takes that for us to change and shift to to a more positive sort of aspect. But hopefully this seminar will open some people's eyes and inspire some people to kind of reach a little further within Grenada. So
the entrepreneurial spirit
mm-hmm.
is something which is not really appreciated by a lot of people, a lot of parents in particular. They would rather you have a job as a doctor or a scientist or, work for the government because, the government pays you on time.
Safer.
They think. So an actor, yeah, exactly, an actor, a dancer,
visual artist,
to do those things and to be self-employed, to be self-empowered, it's not good. It's better that you go and punch a clock and let somebody tell you when to come into work, or what time to come into work, how many hours to work you like a complete dog, don't pay you for the amount of money that you really deserve. That's fine, because that's the norm.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody who decides to come out of that, it's like, no, you don't want to do it. Go and get yourself a proper job.
Mm-hmm.
How did you overcome that?
It took a lot of years actually. I worked a full-time job for many, many years. I don't have one anymore. Amen. God is good. It's been 3 years of no full-time job, and that's been the best decision I've made for my life. But prior to that, I did work a full-time job, and I was modeling at the time, and I was actually making a lot of money modeling, but I also had a great paying full-time job, so I didn't give modeling as much attention as I should. And the reason I did that is because the Caribbean culture / Grenadian culture that ingrains, you have a job, you have a walk, stay with it, that type of thing, stuck with me. So it was a combination of that and fear. What if I fail? I'll be ashamed that I tried all this and I failed. But then anyone who has a desire to do something else, no matter how much you subdue that, it will manifest itself. And I had too many people, my whole crew, everyone's like stylists, dancers, makeup artists, just PR people, enormously creative people. And they're all reaching for their goals now. And everybody's at such good levels right now. And I'm glad that I decided to sit down, have that conversation with myself and realize what it is I wanted. And I made the step of removing myself from a 9-to-5, which was not permitting me to go to auditions. Or if I did go to auditions, I had to beg someone to work for me because now I have to go and shoot what I just booked, So it was a matter of just telling myself, this is what I wanted, this is who I am. and breaking away from the little cultural influences that were there and set in my mind. So it was difficult because there's a lot of, because what you're taught from young, it's hard
Yes,
to get out of that. So
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So that's basically how I got to this point. Yeah, I was like, you know what, I have to do what I have to do for me.
So, do you have a message to those people that follow you and have tracked your journey?
Yes, definitely. I love to use this term. We use this a lot in acting class. We say own the moment. In this case, I'm going to say own your craft, own your talent, own your persona. And what I mean by that, for those who may not understand, whatever it is that makes you happy, deep down inside, pursue that. Even if you're in Grenada and you may not be able to be an opera singer, that does not mean you cannot create a movement of opera singers in Grenada where you guys get a chance to showcase your talent. Whatever it is that you enjoy doing, pursue it. Even if it's not a full-time job for you, at least just feed that side of you. And I think you'll be happy. Own it.
Fabulous, fabulous,
Yeah.
so inspirational. You should be an inspirational speaker as well.
uh, where's my check? I'm teasing. Who knows? Life. I'm open to anything. Life. You never know where God lays things out for you.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely. What's your vision for the future? What will be your mountaintop?
My mountaintop would definitely be having them cut that ribbon to the international art school I'd like to establish in Grenada, because I honestly I want to establish an international art school. And I use the word international. It's not limited to Grenada. I want it to be the UE of art schools within the region. But the foundation of that is in Grenada, and I want it to be there. I want people to be able to come to Grenada and study music, dance, fashion, whatever it is that moves them creatively and in the arts. I want to establish a school there in Grenada. So hopefully this seminar is the first few baby steps into that long-term.
Well, we'll be there filming you from your seminar, so people get to see what you're about, see what you're doing, and listening at the seminar. So it'd be fantastic.
Definitely. Thank you.
Neil, how do people contact you?
These are my personal pages because I'm one of those laissez-faire, as we say back home, type of people. But I need to get a professional page for my Facebook. But you can hit me up on my personal page, facebook.com/just Springle. My last name Springle. My Twitter handle is @justspringle, and my Instagram @justspringle as well. My website is justspringle.net.
Neil Springle, thank you so much for talking to Bayloric TV.
Thank you for having me again. Definitely.
And let's just one more time, this Saturday
at the Grenada National Museum. That'll be the 14th, and that's at 3:30 to 6 p.m.
Great stuff, Neil. Look forward to seeing you there.
Definitely. Thank you.
Take care.
All right.